I never imagined that death would feel so quiet. One moment, I was in the chaos of the city streets, screaming, running, blood on my hands. And the next, there was nothing but a void. No light, no sound, no weight. It was the absence of everything I had ever known, yet somehow it was not frightening. There was only a cold emptiness, stretching infinitely. I felt myself floating, neither here nor there, until a voice, soft but sharp, pierced the void. "You are not yet ready," it whispered. I opened my eyes, or I thought I did, but instead of the world I had known, I saw a figure hovering above me, bathed in a dim, silvery light that seemed to hum an otherworldly energy. She was tall, impossibly slender, and her skin shimmered like pale moonlight. Her eyes were deep crimson, glowing faintly, and her hair fell like liquid night around her shoulders. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating, a final trick of the mind before the end. I'm dead, aren't I? My voice sounded fragile even to me. "Technically, yes," she said, her voice melodic, yet filled with an edge I couldn't quite place. "But you are not meant to stay." Before I could respond, she extended a hand toward me, delicate and unerringly beautiful. As her fingers grazed my chest, a warmth spread through me, burning away the chill of death. My lungs screamed for air, and I realized I was breathing again. My heart, which had stopped a moment ago, or perhaps hours, I could no longer tell, began to beat with renewed life. "Why?" I choked. "Because you are rare," she replied simply, her crimson eyes softening. "And because I chose to pull you back." The world between worlds. When I awoke fully, I was lying on a cold, metallic floor room unlike anything I had seen before. The walls were dark, smooth, and reflective, with strange lights tracing along them like veins of liquid energy. The air smelled faintly of ozone and iron, tinged with something floral I couldn't name. "You are safe," she said again, and this time I noticed her wings, or were they wings? They were membranous, bat-like, but elegant, folded behind her like a cloak of shadows. "But not for long. They will come for you." "Who?" I whispered, fear bubbling in my chest. "Those who want the rare and the weak destroyed," she said, her fangs glinting slightly as she smiled. Not a cruel smile, but one that reminded me I was now in a world far removed from human understanding. I wanted to speak, to demand answers, but my throat felt dry and useless. My mind raced. Where was I? Who or what was she? And how had she brought me back from the edge of death with only a touch? She studied me for a moment, then moved gracefully to a console embedded in the wall. Her hands hovered above glowing symbols I didn't recognize. "You are between worlds now," she explained. "The mortal realm and the shadow realm. Death has released you from one, but the other does not easily forget its claims. Shadow realm." My voice shook. "You mean hell?" She chuckled softly, a sound like silk brushing against stone. "Not hell, human. A place older than your myths. A dimension where life and death intersect. You are alive because I allowed it. You are in my care, but even I cannot protect you indefinitely." For the first time, I felt the weight of my mortality, or perhaps the precariousness of my renewed existence. Somehow, she had made me a part of something I didn't understand, and yet I had no choice but to trust her. The price of life. Days passed, though time had a strange, elastic quality here. I learned to speak with her, to understand her strange rhythms, and to recognize that every movement she made was deliberate, almost ritualistic. She introduced herself finally. "I am Solara." "Solara, an alien?" I asked, the word tasting inadequate. "Vampire," she corrected, as if that explained everything. "Not in the tales you know, not in the legends you cling to. We are older than your stars, predating even the first humans. Our kind moves between realms, feeding on essence, not just blood. You call it death, we call it transition. But I sense something in you, something unique." "What do you mean?" "I mean that your soul, your essence, is resilient. Most humans would have perished. You, however, carry a spark strong enough to resist the pull. That is why I brought you back." I shivered, the implications sinking in. I wasn't just lucky. I had been chosen. And that choice came with a cost. "You will need to leave this place soon," Solara said, her eyes darkening. "Forces that hunt rare life forms are aware of you now. Staying here is dangerous, for both of us." "Leave where?" I asked. She extended her hand again, but this time the gesture was less comforting and more commanding. "Back to your world, but not as you were. You carry the shadow of life and death with you now. You are change, and so is your fate." I hesitated. Fear battled curiosity. But as her crimson gaze locked onto mine, I realized I had no choice. I took her hand. The world tilted, swirled, and I was pulled through a tunnel of light and shadow that left me dizzy and disoriented, back among the living. When I awoke again, I was in the alley where I had died. The city was loud, unforgiving, and indifferent. But I was different. I could feel it. My senses were sharper, my thoughts quicker, and beneath the surface, a strange hunger simmered. Not exactly for blood, but for something deeper, something I couldn't name. Solara appeared beside me, her wings folded neatly, her presence a shadow I could feel even when unseen. "Do you understand now?" she asked. "Your life is no longer yours alone. You carry the mark of the shadow, and with it, power and peril in equal measure." I nodded slowly, still processing. I wanted to ask her to stay, to explain more, but she shook her head. "My duty was to return you. Yours is to survive. Seek the path, learn the rules, and remember, the forces that hunt will not forgive your interference." And with that, she vanished, leaving me alone in the hum of the city. The first hunt. Weeks passed, and I tried to return to normal life. But Solara's words echoed relentlessly. Then, one night, I felt it, the first predator. A presence unlike any human. A shadow moving against the light, hunting me. I ran, heart hammering, senses alive in ways I couldn't fully understand. And in the darkness, I realized that I could feel them before they acted. I was fast, faster than any human should be. I could see in the dark. My reflexes were honed, preternatural, and yet fear still pulsed through me. When the shadow struck, I fought, not with fists, but with a strange energy coursing through me. It was like fire and ice wrapped together, responding to my will. The creature recoiled, hissing in a voice that grated on my mind. And then it fled, leaving me trembling, alive, and changed. I understood then what Solara had meant. My life was no longer my own. I had been pulled back from death not to live normally, but to exist on the boundary between worlds, a predator and prey both. Months passed, and I learned to control the hunger, the speed, the senses. I discovered messages left by Solara, strange glyphs that I could read now, etched in hidden corners of the city, guiding me, warning me. She returned occasionally, always silently, always watching. I realized I was becoming more like her, but not entirely. My humanity clung stubbornly, even as my new nature grew. One night, she appeared beside me as I crouched on a rooftop, watching the city lights flicker. "You are learning," she said, her tone approving. "I think I understand," I admitted, "but why me? Why bother?" Solara's eyes softened. "Because some lives are meant to matter, even in worlds that don't care. And because you can carry what I cannot, human resilience, hope, and unpredictability. In this, we are partners." The word sent shivers down my spine. Partners. Not master and servant, not predator and prey, but something closer to equals, connected across realms by choice and necessity. The final confrontation. It was inevitable. The hunters returned, far stronger, more cunning, and relentless. I faced them in the ruins of an abandoned industrial complex, their forms shifting like smoke, their whispers clawing at my mind. But I was ready. I had become something neither human nor alien, a fusion of life and shadow, of mortality and power. Solara emerged from the shadows behind me, wings unfurled, eyes blazing. "Together," she said, "we moved as one." The battle was fierce. Screams, clashes of energy, shadows tearing at the walls. And yet, we were unstoppable. The hunters fell one by one, unable to comprehend the bond between human and alien vampire, the fusion of mortality and shadow. When it was over, silence reigned. I was breathing heavily, exhausted but alive. Solara placed her hand on my shoulder. "You survived," she said. "We survived," I corrected. Her crimson eyes softened, and for the first time I saw something almost tender in her gaze. "Yes, and that matters more than you know." A new dawn. I returned to the city streets, no longer the man I had been. I carried the memory of death, the touch of Solara, and the knowledge that life is fragile, fleeting, and infinitely precious. And sometimes it can be reclaimed, even from the edge of oblivion, by a hand from another world, another existence, another kind of life. I never saw Solara again after that night, but I felt her presence in the shadows, in the wind, in the pulse of the city, and I knew without doubt that death had not taken me. Not entirely, because in saving me, she had changed everything. And I would never forget the alien vampire woman who pulled me back from a void,